Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dmytro Voronenko. I am CEO and co-founder of Turnkey Lender, international company with more than 200 customers across 50 countries that helps digital lenders to automate their business the most efficient way. We help many companies in Americas, in Southeast Asia, in Europe to automate their buy now, pay later operations. And today, I plan to share with you all our findings, all our experience on how to automate your buy now, pay later operations the most efficient way. There is a paradigm shift in the whole economy that is driven by dynamically growing demand for pay later operations. So this is so huge that some people name it embedded lending revolution. And analysts predict that it will grow 11 times within the next 5 years. So the market will be around 1 trillion by 2026. Right now, in this year, only in APAC region, the size of this market is already 136 billion. And recent research in Europe tells us that 73% of brands plan to start doing embedded lending one way or another within the next 2 years. This tells us that clients, they want this buy now, pay later, while traditional lenders, they are very slow in adapting to client needs. Not all of them, not always, but majority of them, they are really slow. This gives a massive opportunity for fintechs, for other nimble financial institutions to grab this opportunity that is growing again in tremendous tempo. And all of this because these institutions, these new fintechs, these new buy now, pay later providers, or these embedded lenders as brands, they can give the client totally seamless in-checkout experience of getting this buy now, pay later type of loans or credit. Not only to mention that it's interest-free, that is very convenient, that is very contextualized. You know better than me that this gives brands higher revenues, higher margins, higher average order value. This changes the way how credit is offered to the clients. Look into these statistics that tells how much customer preferences are changing. It's only from March to September 2020, so now it's obviously even bigger, but you can see the changes in some cases for millennials, for example, is 3 times, in some cases 2 times, 2.5 times, and it shows us that this wave of demand is unstoppable. Another research tells us that 2 out of 5 shoppers that are millennials is planning to rather use buy now, pay later than to use credit card. Very shiny and vivid example of embedded lender that offers contextualized credit or loan to its clients is Shopify. So Shopify exactly has the context that banks or traditional lenders cannot have. Shopify knows about their clients, its clients, businesses much more than a bank or a lender can know. They know about their sales, inventories, seasonality, a lot of other stuff. And most importantly, Shopify knows when this client most probably needs a credit. And exactly at this time, Shopify can offer credit to them. Relationship between client and Shopify can be much better. Brand value, brand perception, brand strength of Shopify comparing to all of this from, for example, this a bank, this business uses much better, and stronger. So business having this contextualized offer is more likely to get a loan from Shopify. And it will be with a couple of clicks. This is exactly this seamless experience. And in this way, Shopify disintermediates banks. So in this way, it's better for everybody. Because again, loan can be given to a business that will be not so interested to a bank. It will be given exactly at the time they need. It will be given in very seamless way. And this is good example to show that a brand that embeds lending into its main offering can have much better proposition to their clients. And with this, we are moving further, describing how other brands can start offering it. Not only classic kind of working capital loans as Shopify doing, but more importantly, buy now, pay later loans for consumers and even to businesses who are their clients or their partners. But first, before moving into this, let's discuss how regulators are pushing back. But before discussing how your brand, how other brands can benefit from using buy now, pay later capabilities, I would like to say a couple of words about pushback from regulators. I'm sure many of you heard about regulators are thinking to start regulating buy now, pay later area, and this has its pros and cons. So different countries approach it in a different way. So for example, in this case, regulator are rather inclined to treat buy now, pay later providers as credit card companies. In the UK, they rather do special regulations for buy now, pay later providers, where they will define fair terms, total transparency, and other regulatory parameters. In Singapore, Singapore FinTech Association, together with Monetary Authority of Singapore, created a new document that is Code of Conduct that aims to protect customers. This code contains maximum amount of buy now, pay later loans combined from one provider. This also states how terms and conditions should be correctly stated, how to regulate collection practices, information exchange. So this is in form of code of conduct that actually accepted by 8 major industry players in buy now, pay later area in Singapore, is another approach of combined and willful efforts of monetary authority, of government body, and of all industry players to do it right. Because with right approach from regulators, everybody will benefit. So customers will understand that this is very transparent, that this is regulated area, so they have nothing to fear. Somebody actually calculates their capabilities, how much they can afford to lend through buy now, pay later. So they also understand that regulator looks into this, and all of it will not stop the growth of buy now, pay later. Of course, it can slow down, but overall demand is such, and regulators are actually so smart that they will not avoid giving to the economy this extra boost, which buy now, pay later is, because this is interest-free loans for consumers, again, for businesses that can boost the whole economy further. So next we will discuss how businesses, including yours, can benefit from start using buy now, pay later for its own clients. So this slide is probably the most interesting one. We will discuss how you, your brand, your business can benefit from enabling pay later capabilities for your clients. So interestingly, some of the good results I mentioned before in this presentation, we experienced firsthand with our own clients. So on this slide, you can see real world examples of our clients who are brands. They are not BNPL providers, they are not fintechs, and they got the following results after implementing pay later capabilities for them, for their business. So first example, this is healthcare provider, and the biggest advantage they got, they removed seasonality completely. And this gave them twice bigger revenue. So for 12 months after implementing these pay later capabilities, they got twice bigger revenue. And on top of it, so partially because they got more clients, but partially because they got higher, 41% to be precise, higher average order value. The next example is, this is a luxury goods manufacturer, and they offered it on checkout screen, they offered this capability, and they got biggest increase in conversion rate. So they had a lot of abandoned cart percentage from their clients, and they increased, actually completed e-commerce shopping cart on 44%. They increased the conversion of shopping cart on 44%. And the next case is e-commerce provider. This is Portal, own brand. They used before classic BNPL provider like Afterpay, Klarna, Firm. They started using it themselves, and as you can see, the biggest increase, of course, they also got increase in average order value, increase in conversion, but they got the biggest increase they got, it's 50% increase in average annual number of transactions with the same plan. So of course, these are the most impressive results. In majority of cases, they are not that big, like 20 to 30% increase in average order value, sometimes a little bit less. Increase in conversion can be from 5 to 15%, sometimes 25. Also increase in average number of transactions can be from 10 to 30%. But you can see that this is a real life examples of real businesses, and depending on your segment, depending on the industry, these are the results your business can expect to get by merely implementing buy now, pay later. So again, you don't need to create new product, you don't need to establish new branches, you don't need to push more money for marketing or sales, hire more salespeople. You just need to allow your clients to use buy now, pay later. And this is the results your business will get out of it. Okay, and now how to implement it to get maximum results. So first of all, of course, it's not that one size fits all. You may have different kind of goods, luxury goods, different ticket size, different audience. So first and foremost, adapt it to your segment, adapt it to the point of need, adapt it to vertical, adapt it to audience. Yeah? And we will discuss how. So first, what is the comfortable spending? So for example, if it's $500, so this is the how you need to split your buy now, pay later. For example, if you want to sell for 5,000, and your comfortable spending is 500, then you have 10 installments. You need to decide whether it's okay for you, not okay, is it too long, or probably then offer something else, or it will not suit you, for example, and you need a classic installment loans like 12 installments, 12 months short-term loan, and so on and so forth. So this defines which will be terms and transaction limits. So it can be not like 3 or 4 installments, it can be 2 installments, it can be 6 installments, it can be decreasing amounts, it can be 0 interest rate, it can be even in some cases when you sell certain goods that will be outdated next month, it can be even less, it can be even negative interest rate, so to speak. And very important if you want to preserve your brand. If you want, like for example, in our case, we discussed before with luxury goods manufacturer, preserve the brand so customer will understand this is this brand who offers me pay later capability. Again, it's like Apple preserves its brand when it's Apple Pay Later. It's not like third party or some big bank offers this, or big buy now, pay later provider. It's this brand, and in many cases it's important. It should be your brand, like in case with Shopify, for example, and again, Apple or Grab, for example. So then that is why you will need to decide, will you use third party, very famous BNPL provider like Klarna, Afterpay, Firm, and other great companies, or because of your audience, because of your brand, you need it to be branded under your name. So you need, so to speak, in-house pay later capabilities. So you need to highlight this possibility, this option on all your sales platforms, so customer will clearly see that this is possible. And again, it's possible under your brand. It's seamless, it's affordable, it's easy to use. And of course, it should be very clear what are the terms, rates, what are the number of installments, what will be in the case if repayments will be outdated. So all of this needs to be very clear. And of course, don't forget about special messaging on your web pages for abandoned carts. Yeah? It saves quite a lot of percentage of these abandoned carts. So you will get these clients back if you will remind them that, look, you have buy now, pay later capability here. You can still buy this if you will use this option. And also very important to implement it gradually. Yeah, you can, especially if you do it as in-house pay later under your own brand, you can implement it, for example, initially just for your creme de la creme customers. You can do just email sending to some of pre-selected clients. You can enable this button only for clients who are with you for 3 years in your mobile application, and so on and so forth. You can gradually increase the amount or list of goods that or services that you offer this pay later for. This gradual implementation is especially important for big businesses. Keep in mind main reasons why clients are using buy now, pay later. As you can see, this is mainly transparency. Of course, this is very clear what are the fees and interest rates and how many installments. It's very clear for them. This is one of the major reasons they use buy now, pay later. Another one is ability to monitor its spending. So it shows that majority of such clients, they are financially savvy clients. They actually track their budget. They understand what they are doing. They actually go for this zero interest rate capability. And also, of course, convenience. This is another very major one. It's again, at the point of contact, seamless, very often with the same brand they used to shop with. And these three are the most important. So while implementing pay later operations for your own brand and business, keep it in mind and keep them, again, as clear as possible, give them the ability to monitor spending and make it as convenient as possible. This is the way for this option, pay later option, to win over other options to pay for your goods and services. And new wave of pay later adoption is coming. As you can see on the slide, almost all customers who used buy now, pay later online wants to use the same deferred payment options when shopping in local store. And if this option is available when shopping online, why should we bar customers from accessing it when they do shopping in store? And brands and businesses that rely significantly on offline purchases will inevitably start using pay later option one way or another. Again, white-labeled embedded lending systems like Turnkey Lender can help do it both online and offline. In our experience, what we saw that this pay later capability became the main differentiator for some of the businesses, especially for those with higher ticket size. They openly told us this is now the main competitive advantage we have. The fact that we can offer pay later capability actually distinguishes us the most, and we are growing and winning over competition just because of this. And this is especially important especially for some segments with certain ticket size, with easily expandable average order value, and especially right now in times of supply chain disruptions, in times of post-COVID era, in times of where all this inflation pressure adds more strain to clients, to buyers. This capability, so buy now, pay later capability, of course, adds competitive advantage. So these brands who embrace buy now, pay later, they seamlessly embedded within application or website, they make it possible for a client to be constantly focused, to be constantly aware more about their product, about their brand, not about how they are purchasing, how they are paying, where do they get credit, how they will be paying back, whom they will be paying back. So they make them to be focused on product and on this brand. And this gives additional value to the brand. So competitive differentiator number one. And second, focus your client on your product rather than on how they purchase this product. And all this, you can see how it evolved historically. Yeah, obviously you remember when classic buy now, pay later providers started offering their services. And this was beginning of 2010 and all this 2010 to 2020. So they were number one. They were really new thing and a lot of buzz around this. And so these are established companies who are focused on buy now, pay later. And some of them partnered with banks, some of them did it on themselves. But this is dedicated buy now, pay later providers era. And nowadays, starting like 2 years ago, more and more brands start using it as an embedded pay later service. Of course, everybody knows about Apple Pay Later, Grab Pay Later, there is PayPal Credit, many other examples. And these are innovative brands that are very visionary, and they embed these pay later capabilities into their main client propositions. And we see that within the next 8 years, 5 to 8 years, almost all brands will be able to do it very easily. Technologically, again, with solutions like Turnkey Lender, technologically, it's so easy to start it. Turn the key and you're a lender. And any brand within the next 5 to 8 years, any brand will be able to become buy now, pay later provider. As some people say, every business will be fintech business. And partially it will be because of these embedded fintech capabilities, embedded payments, and embedded pay later or other kinds of embedded credit. So welcome to the new era. Now let's discuss which way of implementing buy now, pay later will be better for your business. So there are two major ways. So first, you will be able to use dedicated buy now, pay later providers. And for many types of businesses, this is the best choice. So first and foremost, this is very easy answer, easy integration. So you do close to nothing. You incorporate the button on your website and the rest is handled by this provider. So you don't need to think about anything, and quite important for many businesses, especially for example, many parts in e-commerce segment, that you will get your money immediately. Yeah, they will be discounted a little bit. We'll discuss about it a bit later, but you will get your money. You have no headache at all. So you just got it. Yeah? So this is one of the approaches, and this is very well known one, yeah? And used by many years already by many businesses. So on the next slide, I will discuss the second one. So what we see right now, more and more brands starting to use what they name in-house buy now, pay later, yeah? Or branded pay later capabilities. And there are also many cases when it's a better choice for your business. So first and foremost, in some of the cases, you know about your customers much more, and with easy addition of even a couple of additional credit rules, you can judge about your customers much better than any bank can do. Remember the case we discussed about Shopify. Yeah? So this is the first thing. So your approval rates will be better, your customer understanding will be better, underwriting better. So this is first one. Second is if you want higher conversion, as we discussed. For example, if it's your branded website, again, as with Apple Pay Later, so you want some Apple product or service, and Apple does Pay Later, it's definitely higher conversion. You will get higher conversion for this Pay Later than if you will do with third-party providers. And the next one, if you want to do more seamless process, so obviously it will be less clicks than go into the third-party website. Yeah? Then for some of the cases, like for example, if it's seasonal production of some goods and like within a month or a quarter, your product will be outdated, you can even offer very special terms for it. Yeah? That again, one size fits all, buy now, pay later providers will not be offering you. So they have their own business model for installments and how they split up, and you can actually use very specific ones for your specific business. And then you will not need to pay portion of your revenue to buy now, pay later provider. For some businesses, this is huge amounts, yeah, tens or even hundreds of millions. So usually it is between 4 and 6% of your revenue that BNPL provider leaves for themselves. Yeah? And for you, it can be additional income if you will do it on your own. And then not for all, but for many segments, you can be also subject to client loss, because they can go to competitors on buy now pay later websites. They can see, in many cases, not in all of them, they can see links to competitor websites. So some of them, especially stronger brands, they reported to us that according to their investigation, they also lose 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 more percent through this. And again, as you can see on the slide, if you use classic buy now pay later providers, you still will get higher revenue, 25, 26% higher revenue on average. Yeah, you will pay 5% back to BNPL provider, you will lose some of them to competition, but you still get higher revenue. Well, if you're relatively strong brand or very niche, and in specific industries, if you do it on your own, you may have increase in revenue much higher. In some cases, even 40% higher. So you need to consider all these things before deciding how you want to do it. Of course, with in-house buy now pay later solution, you need to manage it on your own. So this, if you need money the next day, this will not be good for you, because you will need to whether to bring it on your own balance sheet or whether simply wait. So it will be deferred payment for you. Wait for these payments on your own. But again, keep in mind that solutions right now, they automated 100%. You don't need to become a bank or BNPL provider, because it will be automated. It will just run it for you approximately the same way as it runs embedded payments. The same way it will run embedded pay later solution. And also, please remember, with your own brand, customer loyalty still remains with you, what we discussed in one of our previous slides. To summarize what was told, and this is very important to understand, that brands that offer pay later and that becoming embedded lenders, they create new market. In majority of cases, they create new market, and they finance their own clients that in majority of cases will not be financed by banks or even by buy now pay later providers. So in this way, by offering financing to such clients, they actually get revenues that they will not be able to get in any other way. So this is totally new business that brings good for all. It brings good for brands and businesses, it brings good for people who buy them, and it brings good for the market and good for economy. And that is why events like this, Buy Now Pay Later Asia, is great. And the ecosystem development of all Buy Now Pay Later players of different kinds, it's also great. And thank you for your time and for your attention. And any additional questions are very welcome. You know how to write us, how to find us. Thank you.